Welcome to this week's episode of The Savvy Author. I am your literary consultant and host, Clara Rose. If this is your first time joining us, let me be the first to say welcome and invite you to come back every week where we talk about all the things you need to know to be a savvy author. And of course, if you are a regular or you've been here before, welcome back, my friend. So every week on the show, we talk about three things, or a part of three things. We talk about the three phases of book creation. That's the brainstorm and blueprint, which is just the starting point and foundational for every single good book, where we analyze, creating the right book for you. We brainstorm to capture your ideas, and we blueprint so we have an outline to follow. Now, of course, if you're a fiction author, it varies a little bit at this stage because we do your story arc and character development as well in the brainstorm and blueprint phase. The next phase, of course, is create and correct. This is where we actually get the work done, putting the words on paper. We actually have to write our book. And then, of course, editing, because everybody needs a good editor, and then formatting so that it is ready for publishing. And then finally, the publish and promote, which is the piece that people are usually the most excited about publishing and understanding your options. We talk about that. We talk about promoting, getting the word out there that you even have a book that is out so that people will buy it. And then, of course, a plan for ongoing sales, because they don't just happen. You actually have to plan for them, and you actually have to promote yourself on an ongoing basis. It is not true that if you just publish it, they will come and buy your book and all will be rosy. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And we're going to talk today about phase 3. Not all of phase 3, but we're going to talk about a piece of it. So this is, remember, the publish and promote. So we're not going to talk about your publishing options today or your ongoing plan for sales. We're going to talk about getting the word out. So the promote piece is what we're going to focus on today. It's an important part of getting your book noticed is your promotion. And you might be surprised at what that means for you as the author. All right, let's jump right in. First, let's talk about where are your potential readers? Where are your people? Where do they hang out? Where do they live? What do they do? How are you going to find them? Now, there's a number of different places that we're going to find our ideal reader or our potential reader, shall we call them. I don't know that there's an ideal reader for every single book out there, but there's an ideal reader for some books. For instance, my last book, which pretty soon I won't be able to say that anymore, that's exciting, 8 Ways to Mind Your Own Business, Strategy and Mindset for the New Entrepreneur. Now, this book did have an ideal reader, a potential ideal reader. So if you are we're in the very beginning stages of starting a new business, and you needed to work on strategy and mindset as you opened or launched your new business, this was 8 ways to help you do that from both of those perspectives. So if you were not interested in starting a business, or you weren't in the throes of trying to start a new business, this might not have been a great book for you. You might not have been interested in this topic. So in the promotion stage for this book, we focused really heavily on marketing to people who might want to read the book. So that's what I mean by, it's probably not true for every single book, but some books, an ideal potential reader is important. Now, if you're writing fiction, you may or may not have an ideal audience. Anybody can like fiction, right? From any walk of life, any age, any gender, any race, no matter who you are, you can enjoy fiction, or you might hate fiction. So you won't necessarily know where to find those people, so you're going to have to look more generally or more broadly at things. And then, of course, you don't want to judge who may or may not be interested, even if you do have one that's more specific to a potential reader type. All right, let's dive right into the good stuff that I have for you today. First of all, where are you meeting your people in person? So where do you interact in person with your potential readers? Are you networking somewhere because you have a business, ministry, cause, or brand? Do you belong to a local church? Church groups are a great place to get to know other people who have similar interests to you. Social gatherings of any type. So this could be, the Rotary Club or an Awanas Club or any place. It could be the local flower club. Any place where you connect with other people socially in person is a great place to talk about your book and look for potential readers of your book. Writers groups, of course. If you've watched me for more than 5 minutes, you hear me talking about the value and the importance of writers group, helping to support each other as writers. Great place to connect with people in person. Team sports, maybe you play basketball on the weekends, or maybe you're part of the local softball team, or whatever it is that you love to do. Maybe you're over there at the painting place, painting with a bunch of ladies, wherever you're at socially. A team event is a great place. And then events in general. Anytime you're out and about at an event, it is a good opportunity to be on the lookout for people who could be a potential reader of your book. So here's your savvy tip on this. Talk about your book, right? While you are still writing it. It helps with accountability. Now, you're going to hear me talk about accountability more than once today. Accountability is really important in all phases of the book creation process. Not as much in the beginning phase. Having help with that, I think, is important, but as you're writing, absolutely a must to have some good accountability in place. And of course, when you're publishing and promoting, some accountability as well. But as you write your book, start talking about your book. Let people know that it's coming. It creates accountability for you. Now, I have had a couple of people say, "Oh, Clara, I'm afraid to talk about my book. What if I never finish it?" What if you never finish it? Isn't the fact that you've told people, I have a book coming out, isn't that accountability going to help you to actually finish your book, meet that goal? It just kind of builds in accountability. You just be sure that you're accountable to yourself as well, and be sure that you're truly committed to the project before you start talking about it to other people. I think if you have a good, solid reason for writing your book, you know that it's going to be the tool you need, or you have a passion for writing, whatever that reason is. A little bit of accountability will go a long ways to helping you get your project out there. Okay, so in person, of course, anywhere we go where we see other people, interact with other people is a great place to talk about our book and promote our book while we're writing our book. Let's move on. You, of course, have already thought about this, I'm sure, digital connections. So where do you interact online with your potential reader? Now, love it or hate it, social media is here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future, right? While we have electricity and we have internet, we are going to have social connections with other people. Social media is a great place. And there are, of course, a ton of them out there. So your people, your potential reader might hang out on Facebook, or maybe they hang out on LinkedIn. Maybe you're connecting with them best on Twitter. You can't be everywhere all the time, so I don't recommend that you try to be, but just look for where your people are hanging out and then go hang out there with them. I have found that online groups are another great way to connect with people online. So being a part of a group that you're interested in that does something even totally different is a great place to build some online relationships. And then, of course, those relationships, in time, you can talk about that you have a book coming out. Now, of course, you're not going to jump into a brand new relationship and shove the book up their nose, right? But super important that you have those connections out there. And then your savvy tip on digital connections, which I'm sure you've heard before, but be intentional about where you connect with your potential readers. So if you are writing science fiction, say, you probably want to find places to hang out where other people who like science fiction are. right? Does that make sense? If you are writing a book about flower decorating, so perhaps you want to find a flower club, or find a group that's learning how to do flower arranging, or maybe find a group of gardeners who love flowers. Just be intentional and strategic about where you look for those connections and build those connections there. Social media is wonderful in general for connecting with other people. And of course, each of the platforms has ways that you can pay them money, right? They're a business. You can pay them money to help you connect more directly with the right people. But of course, it's advertising, and advertising costs money, and there are no guarantees in advertising. So I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying it needs to be mixed with other things. You can't just rely on that. You're going to need to connect with people organically and authentically in other ways, aside from just putting Facebook ads or boosts or whatever out there. Find places to connect with other people and have real conversations. Even though they're digital, have conversations with them. Build relationship with them. I have a great example for you. This past weekend, I was at a retreat in Hilton Head, which was absolutely lovely and delightful. Now, many of these ladies, it was for women, real estate investors, many of these ladies I have seen week after week, sometimes a couple of times a week on Zoom or on Facebook, in our Facebook group, digitally, 100% digitally. Some ladies I've been meeting with for 6 months digitally. Now, I have seen their faces, we've talked, I feel like I know them, and we had actually built relationship digitally that ultimately when we saw each other, it was like, hey, it's hug it out time. That's how real those relationships have become. Now, seeing them in person was way better, of course, and hanging out in a beautiful place and eating too much wonderful food also was lovely. And those relationships became even deeper. But they indeed started digitally. And so I just want to point out the value of creating those relationships at that level. So don't underestimate the value of connecting with people digitally online. Okay, I don't want to run out of time before I get to the good stuff, so let's move on. I've already said this once, but intentional connections. Find new ways to create other opportunities to connect with your potential reader. Now, this might be something as simple as creating your own writers group. There's nothing like being in front or a leader or in charge of something to get the attention of people in a group. If you're just one of the masses in a group and you rarely speak up, or raise your hand or say hello, they're not going to notice you as much. But if you actually start the group and create the group and run the group, and you're front and center in the group more often, everybody's going to know who you are. You'll just have to learn who they are as well. Join a mastermind. I'm a huge fan of mastermind groups. I'm always in at least one mastermind, and I have for many years been a part of them. The value is in the collaborative things that come out of that mastermind group. You get together for a specific reason, and you build relationships around that reason. If you are brave, start your own mastermind group. There is real power in that, my friend, real power in that. You are front and center, and the collaborative work that's going on is amazing. Some genius stuff comes right out of that. And bonus, you have a built-in audience of people probably willing to read your book and talk about your book when it's time. And then, of course, I always talk about this one, but support a cause. Find something that sets your heart on fire and get involved. So when you get involved with a cause that speaks to your heart, it's a win-win. It's a win for you, and it's a win for the cause. It's the perfect way to get front and center in front of a bunch of people who share something with you. If they are supporting that same cause with you, whether it's, breast cancer or awareness or, whatever it is, standing front and center and saying, hey, I'm going to be a volunteer. I'm going to be a sponsor for this event. Let me show up and help out in some way at the live event. All of those things just build connection and relationship between you and the people who are also participating. Your cause benefits, absolutely, but you benefit as well. Not only do you feel good about it, because doing good things feels good, it feeds our soul as well as doing good for our cause, but it also gives you exposure that you don't get in other places in other ways. It gives you exposure that has no strings attached. People just see you being a good person, doing something wonderful, something nice for a wonderful cause. So you get credibility, you get bonus points, if you will. So you're building a relationship in a whole different way at that level. And this cause is also benefiting. So I encourage you absolutely to find a cause. Jump in, support them. It'll make a difference for you as well, my friend. All right, let's move on. This one is my absolute favorite one of all of the ways to connect, and it's create visibility. So turn your potential readers into followers and fans. Start a podcast. Be a podcast guest on someone else's podcast. Start a show. Kind of like the Savvy Author Show, right? Gets me in front of you every week because I'm teaching you something of value and you keep coming back to support me, but also to learn more. Host a show for somebody else. It doesn't have to be your show. Be a host for somebody else. Lots of people out there aren't interested in hosting their own show, but they would love to have a show. They just don't want to be the face of it. Be a show guest. I am always looking for podcasts and shows where I can be a guest, where I can add value to someone else's following or audience, and at the same time, I get to gain exposure. I get more visibility because their people get to see me. And then, of course, my favorite way to do that is find somebody who it makes sense for them to be on my show and me to be on their show, or them to be on my show, me to be on their podcast. Actually, thinking that I might need my own podcast as well, so that people who don't want to be on camera can still be on my show, because sometimes that happens. People are a little shy that way. So that's a great way to create a win-win between somebody else and my brand and my audience. So we each come to the table with our own audience, our own followers, our own raving fans, if you will, and then we share them with each other by interviewing the other person on our show. Doesn't that just make perfect sense? Of course, it needs to make sense. Like, there are shows that I wouldn't be on because they don't align with my brand. So you have to think about what's going to get me connected to the right audience? Because remember, that's really what this is about, right? We want to ultimately create an audience that is going to potentially buy our book. So they need to be the right person, the right people. So I might not, I love this example always, I might not be interested in being on somebody's show if they are, sumo ballerinas. Right? If they speak to sumo ballerinos, those are probably not my people. Those are probably not reading my kinds of books. And their host is probably not interested in being on the Savvy Author Show either. So I just say that to say, make it make sense for your audience and for their audience. It should be a win-win, absolutely. Of course, I have to say this, even though it's not as popular, but start a vlog or a blog. So someplace where every week you can give valuable content to your followers, to your people, right? And that they can show up and expect that you're always going to have something new for them. A vlog, if you are not familiar, is just a blog, but it's done with a video. So it's in a specific place, probably your website, where you can, or YouTube, where people can show up every single week, or daily, or if you're crazy, or monthly, whatever you commit to, so they know I'm going to show up and there's going to be something there. So you're going to know that most all weeks, if you show up here, I'm going to be here giving you information about the 3 phases of book creation. I'm consistently here, and that's my purpose, is to build a relationship with you, the follower. And then, of course, what is my savvy tip for creating visibility? The secret sauce is in creating raving fans. What do I mean by a raving fan? If you have ever read a book, watched a movie, been to a play, anything, any entertainment of any type, and you came away loving it, you are going to tell people. If you are enough of a fan, you will probably watch it or read it again. I have books that I've read over the years multiple times, 5 times maybe. Like, oh, I feel like reading this one again. There are movies that we have watched repeatedly. I watch Under the Tuscan Sun probably annually. It's about a writer, so maybe that's why, I don't know, but I love it. I love the scenery, I love the story, I love everything about it. I'm a raving fan, right? I'm talking about that kind, that's the secret sauce. When you can connect with people so authentically and impact people so thoroughly that they will tell the world about you and your book. That's the whole goal right there. I want that secret sauce where I have raving fans who are like, oh, you have got to check out Clara Rose. If you're writing a book, check out Clara Rose. First thing you need to do is watch her show, right? Plug into her show every week. Check out her online stuff. Look at her courses. If you're serious about it, call her, email her, right? Call Clara because she can help you with that. Those are raving fans. Someone who will guide other people to you. Everything that comes out, I have people that they'll buy anything I put out. I had people buy this book right here who weren't starting a business because my name is on it, right? Clara Rose, my picture's on it. So they bought it just because of that. Oh, Clara has a new book out, and so they bought it. That's that. Those are raving fans. They believe in me. They believe in what I do. They follow me because they are raving fans, and that, my friend, is the secret sauce that you are after. Not everyone is going to be a raving fan, but you are going to be able to create raving fans from your followers if you just are consistent and give them awesome, great value. Okay, I'm running out of time, so really quickly, let's move on. Start now. That is the word of the day to you. Start now. Don't wait until you're ready to make sales. Start talking about your book right now. So building an audience really does take time. So use the time to create some excitement around your book. So as you're writing, talk about your book. And my savvy tip here, of course, is writing a quality book takes time. Use that time to prepare your audience to buy your book. Create some excitement. Get people thinking, ooh, I can't wait till this book comes out. I always do little snippets from the book for my own books and for my authors as well when I'm helping them. Like, oh, this is good stuff as I edit chapter 5 or whatever, and I find something they said that resonates with me. I'm like, oh, this is a post, right? We got to get this on your social media because this is going to whet the appetite of your potential reader. We want them to get excited before the book comes out. It's kind of like having a baby. Writing a book is kind of like having a baby. It takes about 9 months to cook, right? It takes about 9 months to really create that quality. It can be done faster, it can be done slower, but 9 is the average. So you have 9 months to talk about your book, promote your book, tell the world that you have a book coming, and to create raving fans around your content so that when your book comes out, it is a no-brainer. You're going to run right out and get your book. That is what we're after, my friend. Okay, start now. Start today. If you are thinking, Clara, I really need more help. I really need more help. Of course you know, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you right now that I have ways to help you. Absolutely. As a literary consultant, I help people from the creation idea all the way through final sales and promoting of your book. We work through the 3 phases together to help your book be truly successful. Here's why it works. Here's why it works. You have a seasoned literary consultant and editor to guide you every step of the way. This is Wonderful, because now you have a plan to follow and there's no more wondering, where do I start? No more writing yourself into corners, no more half-finished manuscripts that you have no idea how to finish or publish. We help you with everything you need to know, from front matter to core content, back matter, all of the pieces of your project, and help you build a solid structure for a successful book. We pull everything together, put it into an outline, including your table of contents, before you ever start writing word one. This becomes your step-by-step roadmap for successfully writing your book. All you do is follow the blueprint and write. We, of course, educate you about all of the publishing options. We guide you through editing and formatting and the publishing process, actually. And we have built-in accountability into the process. Remember, I've talked about it before. It's so important to have accountability to get your hiney in the seat to get the work actually done. So our writers group work together to encourage each other, and we put in the time to get the writing done. The collaborations in this group are amazing. So no matter where you are in this journey, the Savvy Author Mentoring Program can help you to plan, write, publish, and launch your book. If you say, oh yeah, Clara, that's what I want, that's what I need, let me tell you how you can learn more about that. So the Savvy Author Mentoring Program is currently not taking new people. The doors are closed, but if you would like to join us for a future session, you can be on the waiting list by going to clararose.com/waitlist. Just /waitlist, not waiting list. I've got a couple of emails about that. Waitlist. It's trying to keep it short and simple. If you have further questions about what the program is about, or you just like more information, you can always drop me an email at hello@clararose.com. Shoot me an email and I'll get right back to you, or my assistant will get back to you and answer any of your questions or concerns. I anticipate that we'll have one more class before this year ends. I anticipate that. Hopefully that's true. But then after the first of the year, we'll always have a new one if this next class is full as well. If you are thinking, I am ready to start my book, and you are ready for some help, I would love to be a part of that journey with you. And I invite you, hop on over to my website, have a look around, get your questions answered, and then jump on the wait list. I promise we are not going to spam you, try to sell you a bunch of stuff. It's just a list that says, hey, you asked to be reminded. It's about time. Here's the link if you want to get started. All right, I'm out of time, my friends, but thank you for joining me once again, and I look forward to seeing you next week where we talk more about how you can be a savvy author.